AITA for pitching my tent in my Airbnb host's front yard after he canceled on me last minute. This happened while I was bicycling across the US after graduating from college. I had booked an Airbnb in a small town. This was one of those listings where you share the common areas with the hosts, but have a private bedroom and bathroom. I arrived around 6 p.m., but no one was home. I knocked several times, called the host 3 times, texted, and left a voicemail. Nothing. I even knocked on 3 neighbors' doors to ask if anyone knew him, but nobody did. While I was at the 3rd neighbor's doorstep, the host finally texted. He explained he had a family emergency out of town, and would be driving back shortly. I asked when he'd be back, but I knew he was at least an hour away. A moment later, he changed his mind saying he'll be gone overnight. Confused, I asked where that left me, and whether I'd be refunded. He didn't reply for another hour. Meanwhile, I desperately needed to use the bathroom. I started riding to the nearest motel just so I can use a bathroom. On the way, I found a supermarket and used their bathroom instead. After that, I devised a plan. I was exhausted from biking all day, and felt too exhausted to look for a stealth camp spot. I also didn't want to pay for a motel without confirmation about the refund. So I'll quietly camp in the host's front yard, leave by 5:30 a.m., and be gone before he returns. I biked back, and pitched my tent at around 7 p.m. It was when I finished pitching the tent, the host finally replied saying yes, I'd be refunded, but also you can't camp out in front of the house. Reading that made my stomach sank. I knew I shouldn't stay, but I was so drained that the idea of moving again felt impossible. I decided to risk it and set my alarm. Around midnight, I was awakened by a car pulling into the driveway. It was the host. He had came home after all. I heard him mutter, frustrated, "This guy is f***ing camping in my yard." I braced myself thinking he'll confront me or pry my tent open, but he left me alone. He also left a message on Airbnb saying he didn't understand why I thought camping in someone's yard was acceptable, that he already told me not to, and that anyone else would have contacted the authorities. He added while the cancellation had inconvenienced the both of us, it didn't justify pitching a tent after being refunded. That message made me feel awful, but at that point it was the middle of the night, so I stayed put until my alarm went off. At 5:30 I started packing. At the same time, the host stepped outside to walk his dog. He didn't say anything. He stood in the doorway giving me a death stare. When I finished packing, I said, "Sorry for the inconvenience." He didn't respond. He never left a negative review, and I never left one either. I don't feel proud of doing this. I didn't want to camp there. I just felt stuck and exhausted. What would you have done in my situation?